Okay, let's say, hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Kurt Ranowski, publisher of Yankee T News, and tonight we have, yes, that's right, a very special guest. It's at long last the one who is leading the charge in Stamford. We have been waiting for you for a long time.
Well, listen, I don't know about that.
Yeah, so Stephanine Edmonds, and she heads up a group called StamfordParentsUnited.com, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. So as you can see, it's Stamford Parents United, so it's definitely a group effort. I won't even take credit for getting all these people together. It's actually another mom through various different Facebook groups. She kind of reached out to us, got us all together in a basement 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Good place to
something
start.
Like that, yeah. And we had the rally planned, and we put up a website, and we're going full force ahead. Again, it's Stamford Parents United. And right now, one of the main issues that kind of brought us together was the mask choice issue. But really, it's about parental voice in general, right?
Okay.
So whether you are for the mask or not for the mask, we want you in the group, right? Whether you are, for certain types of curriculum or against certain types of curriculum, we want you in the group because no matter what side of the issues you're on, the Board of Education and the people downtown, they don't want you to have a voice regardless. And so that's what it's about. It's about coming together and raising up all parents' voices, whatever your position is on the issue, so we can all have discussions and work together to get the people downtown, whether they're elected or paid very, very well, like Miss Lucero here, paid $400,000 big ones.
Who's that?
She is the superintendent of the Stamford Public Schools and now the highest paid superintendent in all of Connecticut and probably one of the highest paid in the country.
Right. I'll bet she makes more money than the president.
She does. She makes $400,000. She makes more than the mayor.
Right. It's outrageous. How do they get to this point?
Well, in Stamford, there was a lawsuit and different types of legal actions taken where she claimed, I don't know all the details. I actually want to do a breakdown of it to learn more into it. But yeah, there was some type of lawsuit, claims of bullying, maybe pulling of race cards, and then you get a nice fat contract coming out the other side.
I see.
And it shuts the people on the board right up, because they don't want to get sued now.
So how much of a tussle has there been over critical race theory?
So last spring, while everybody is still under, the pandemic, everybody's still worried, they were just happy that schools got reopened because they were closed for a while in Stamford. And they snuck through this thing called the Equity and Diversity Policy. I'm not as well versed on the exact numbers, how they all have the different numbers. But essentially it paves the way to bring in lots of new curriculum and professional development. And from my understanding, it's actually kind of one of these mandates handed down from the federal government, and it's all this federal funding that's coming in and influencing what I would consider probably these local people useful idiots. I don't think they're yeah, we're gonna bring in this curriculum and we're gonna destroy the family and we're gonna, groom these kids. I don't think most people are thinking that. They're just oh, well, we want to be inclusive and we want everybody to be equal and we want all kids to succeed, especially our people who have historically been left out. And I think we can all agree about that, right?
Yes.
However, the question is, how are we going about righting these wrongs, or maybe not righting wrongs, but trying to move forward so that it is a more inclusive, this country was founded on, progressively getting more inclusive.
So is there a sense of any of the teachers, quote, within the system who are not with this?
So, I don't know about our group specifically. I do know that there are teachers within our group who teach and are parents in Stamford Public Schools. There are teachers who are speaking out on other issues, there's a whole scheduling debacle also that's going on. Again, it's also under the guise of equity. They want to totally change the schedule so you only take 4 classes each semester. So you could take math one semester and then not take it again for over a year. Or if you have APs, it could kind of mess with that. So it's a less politically charged issue, right?
However,
so teachers feel more comfortable speaking out on that versus these equity and diversity and inclusion. If you're not kind of towing the line, you don't really want to say anything because guess what? As soon as you say something, you get to be labeled like me as a white supremacist, sexist, racist bigot. Which obviously, like, I am.
Well,
you can
yeah.
tell, right? Looking at me.
Yeah, you're in good company here. Yeah. I mean, these kinds of things are so ridiculous. I don't mean to digress from the interview, but I'll just quickly mention at a rally we did in front of the Ferguson Library, this truly demented young man, who I guess is a college student, suddenly decided that we were all racists. And just marched down the line, racist, 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 and I didn't let him get away with it. It sounds like another version of the overall schooling being dumbed down. Would that be
So,
correct?
like, I'm a fan of block scheduling myself, right? Actually, like, when I was in high school, I did block scheduling. I went to most of my school here in Stamford, and I did my last 3 years at a different high school. And we had block scheduling, and I really liked it because it feels like you can actually have, like, more authentic learning experience, right? Because you're not rushed from class to class. I have 90 minutes to sit down here, get a lecture from the teacher, maybe do some reading, like, have a real discussion. And a block schedule has successfully been used at AITE for over a decade now.
Okay.
And they're one of the top performing schools in the state. So I like block scheduling, but the way how they want to do it, the 4x4, and their reasoning is basically like, well, if I'm a kid who's really far behind, do I want to take 4 classes or do I want to take 8 classes, right? And so I think maybe there's somewhat of an argument there, but I think it falls apart when you're like, well, if I'm a kid who's struggling in math, do I only want to take math in September, October, and December and then not have math again until next September? Or it creates a lot of constraints, and then again, they're just like not listening to the community. That's the biggest thing, is they just come in, they have this plan, and they're like, this is what we're doing, and we're like, okay, well, do you care what we have to say about it? And they're like, in a reactive manner, they're like, all right, we'll kind of listen, and then we'll, try to remedy it somehow, but not in a way that actually fully, basically everybody's just left mad now.
Right. Do you feel you have any friends on the Board of Education?
There's definitely people on the Board of Education who are listening and who, I don't want to say like, I guess support us, you can say. So we have Becky Hammond, who I guess she originally got on the board through like an appointment, and then she won her election this year. And then we have Fritz, I forget what his first name is, but he's I think he's up for re-election this year, I'm not sure. But he's, very supportive of the mass choice stuff and also parent voice in terms of the curriculum. And then we just got a young man, he's actually my age, Joss Esses.
Oh, sure.
And so those 3 are very strong support, and also Nick Tarzia. The problem is the board, I think, is 10 people, and that's only 4 votes. I don't know their origin story. I do know that they were very successful this past election at flipping a bunch of, I don't know if it was like party flipping, but flipping to people who were supportive of them.
It was flipping, party flipping, and it was traumatic.
Yeah.
It was Armageddon for the establishment Republicans, yes. However, the story goes that Jackie had seen what was quite frankly pornographic material that was being taught in the school, and she was trying to get people's attention. So what she did was she made copies of the actual curricular material and then put it on every seat in the Republican Town Committee meeting. That's about 60 seats. And when they saw it, they were shocked.
So my actual background is I'm a teacher, and I was teaching in New York City in the Bronx until the mandates.
The Bronx. Then you should. Our friend Marianne should be here.
Yes. So I've been following a lot of these issues for some time now. So whether it's like the No Left Turn, and I know Heterodox Academy, and just a lot of these issues that have been seeping their way into education. Like, I can feel it very distinctly from the time when I graduated from my graduate program in 2016 until now. How even in that time it's really picked up speed.
Yes. So they're desperately racing towards something because some people will suggest they're running out of time.
Yeah, again, I don't know, like, I think that there's all sorts of different influences. I do know, like, I taught history, or I teach history, and I do know, like, at the end of the Roman Empire, which I personally haven't studied in great detail, but
Okay.
that
You'll get there.
they talk about how a lot of, like, the feminization of society and a lot of these same issues, because I think a lot of it has to do with, like, the wealth and the ease of life. Like, there's not too much
Okay.
hard. Like, Jonathan Haidt, Coddling of the American Mind.
HEIDT?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, I've heard of them. So, okay, just to make the point, these sorts of accounts of history, such as the feminization in Rome, I would check the copyright date on the book first.
Okay, that's
Okay.
true. That is true.
Because if it's recent, it's an author who's taking recent issues and trying to put them back into the past. That doesn't mean it isn't true, but one has to see clearly that there's a lens through which the writer is filtering his
No, for
information.
sure, for sure.
Right. So I
Well,
would,
you
yeah.
even look any further than Caligula. I mean, that was complete, like, debauchery of
Okay.
society. So, debauchery is not anything new, or feminization of men and eunuchs,
Okay.
the castration of men, and
Oh, I was actually reading on the history of eunuchs in China. There's, like, a really interesting history of eunuchs in China.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's actually just, like, more kind of sensational than anything that necessarily has to connect with doing today. But like, the
Okay.
eunuchs, like, gained a lot of power over the Chinese
emperor.
emperor at in the late, like, 16 to 1800s, I think, around
Okay.
that time period. Just a little fun fact for the people out there.
I see. So you don't lose everything. One way to
I
think
think
about it.
that I think the desire for power and wealth is, I mean, it's pretty universal, though. I would say it's not what motivates me for the most part.
Right, understood. So I have to say, there, as you've spoken, there are the what I'll call hot button issues that we're trying to deal with, but then you have these other more domestic and mundane issues as well to deal with.
Yeah, so we're definitely trying to do two things at Stamford Parents United. We're trying to play defense, right? We're trying to play defense on the masks, on the curriculum, and all that. But also, right, we need to play some offense too. So that's definitely something that we're going to be, looking more into. Like, we can't just be reactive. So I personally don't necessarily know what offense looks like right now,
Right.
but
Well-
I'm just so happy that we're getting people together. We're linking
Right.
up with people like you, and hopefully we can, get ahead of some of these things.
Right, and if you could make a potluck on Thursday, you'll hook up with more people.
Awesome.
Right. So,
you want to
just
give your website a plug, or your
Yeah, for sure. So Stamford Parents United is StamfordParentsUnited.com. Also, currently right now, you can find us on Instagram at Mask Choice Stamford. That's kind of just the Instagram that we had and we were growing before Stamford Parents United developed. And then once the Mask Choice thing passes, hopefully soon, we'll officially change it over to be Stamford Parents United. But go to StamfordParentsUnited.com. We have a mailing list, so sign up for that. We're gonna start putting out a mailing or a letter weekly, or every week or so. And like I said, it doesn't matter what side of the issue that you're on. Ultimately, this is just about voice, right? And choice. So come, one side is not as good as they can be unless they have an opposing perspective. And then also, I think that we just need to be creating this atmosphere where it's okay to talk to people who you disagree with. It's okay to have a pretty intense conversation where you're disagreeing and then pass somebody a beer or a slice of pizza and laugh, right? Like, I certainly haven't lost that in the conversations where I'm having with people. It just seems that once I step outside my little bubble, it's not that way.
right. Well, I think we can understand that in every town, with every Board of Education, we are dealing with well-entrenched interests
Well, the teachers union.
for openers.
Yeah.
And the teachers union has its other connections. you'll learn that there is just this vast network out there.
Right. I tend to agree, though, you know, when I say things, for example, one thing I've said to people is like, okay, if you don't believe in vaccine mandates, rip up your vaccine card. Right? Oh no, that's extreme. You know, that's an extremist thing. I'm a COVID moderate, you know, like I don't agree with mandates, but ripping up my vaccine card, that's like an extremist like thing to do. And I'm like, so you're telling me that people who are trying to get rid of a discriminatory system are the extremists? Is that, or they try to pose, I guess, them as the polar extreme of the people who are imposing the mandates.
Okay, well, this
and I just don't see it that way. I
this
don't
is
think
a
that the
classic,
people who are holding the line are the extremists.
Yes, this is the classic definition of evil. Okay, where good is bad, you know, love is hate, war is peace. Everything is turned on its head.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, just today, somebody asked me, I was trying to get a job, and they asked me about my vaccine status. I was like, I don't disclose that. And they were like, okay, so I'm going to put that as a no. I was like, no, I did not say no. I said, I will not disclose my status.
Yes,
I've done what I've needed to do to protect me.
You need a third box on your form there.
Exactly.
Not disclosed. Check.
So...
Right.
But I appreciate you guys having me on and helping to spread the word about Stamford Parents United. Like, this is just the beginning. Like, we literally just formed, 2 weeks ago or so, and we are getting organized, and we're linking up with the towns around us. And so all I have to say is join. And to all those politicians out there, to all those unelected bureaucrats who think that they can run things without taking into consideration what the parents have to say, you got another thing coming for you.
Yeah. No, the methods are still evolving. We're discovering things that we hadn't considered before.
Right.
So I don't know if you're familiar with bonds for the win.
Yes, that's actually something I want to very much look into, because I promised the Board of Education and the superintendent that if they did not elect for mass choice, that I would promise to make sure that they don't win their election.
Yes.
And to sue them personally for continued harm.
Exactly.
And I was accused of making threats.
Oh, really?
And I responded to that email, and I reminded them that not ensuring somebody doesn't get elected is a democratic process.
Right.
And suing somebody is part
The
of the
American
legal
way.
system in America.
Right.
Just to be clear, to remind you what system we're in. So.
Yeah, so they're desperate to take the simplest thing and try and blow it up into something worse than it is.
You know, that's how democracy works.
Right. So my closing comment, and I'm looking forward to you coming back, and we're going to be plotting strategy on a lot of things, is that the Greenwich Patriots Group and those who work with them, what they accomplish with the Republican Town Committee is the beginning, and it's the model for others.
Yes, and we owe a lot to Greenwich Patriots and the concerned parents of Greenwich for the blueprint that they provided, the inspiration, also to New Canaan especially, and then just I know also Norwalk is fighting, Darien is fighting, Bridgeport is fighting, so just shout out to all those people, the parents, the moms especially, but also the dads, we know you're there too, and the kids, you know, the kids who have to endure the masks all day, and who are standing up and speaking out for themselves, and even the ones who aren't, who are scared behind their mask, because I know my son, you know, and I mean he's young, so it's not their job, it's our job.
Right. And next week our special will be new methods in tar and feathering. Right.